Jungkook's mic dies as he speaks about Jimin. Then a camera catches Taehyung sabotaging the feed. What secret were they all protecting? Jimin isn't the one at fault. I'm the one who walked away when he needed me. And then silence. The mic went dead. The words hung in the air, unfinished and haunting, like a ghost no one had expected to hear that night. The final night of BTS's global tour was supposed to be triumphant, a celebration of music, love, and resilience. The stadium lights shimmered, the crowd still basking in the afterglow of the final encore. But then Jungkook stepped forward, his voice trembling not from exhaustion, but from the weight of something else. I think it's time I finally say the truth about me and Jimin. Click, the sound died. The mic, completely dead. Confusion swept over his face. He tapped it twice, frowned, then glanced his right, where Jimin stood in the shadows, head bowed, hands clenched in a tight fist by his sides. He hadn't moved, not even when Jungkook said his name. Tex began sprinting toward the control area. The crowd murmured, a few laughs breaking the tension. Most thought it was a glitch, just bad luck. But those watching the live stream saw something. Off-point, one of the backup cameras, likely unmanned, captured a feed from backstage. A blurry, awkward angle meant only for technicians. But this time it caught everything. Behind the curtain, just out of the spotlight, stood Taehyung. Pale, breathing fast. His hand hovered over a mixer board, fingers trembling. And then he did something no one expected. He pressed a button deliberately and whispered under his breath. Not now, Jungkook. It's not time yet. The mic had died because someone wanted it to, and that someone was Kim Taehyung. Within seconds, the internet exploded. Hashtag protect Jungkook. Hashtag what happened with Taehyung. Hashtag Jimin silence. Millions of fans began dissecting every frame of that backstage clip. Was it panic? Was it sabotage? Was Taehyung trying to save them? Or silence them? No official statement was released. The label remained quiet, but the silence screamed louder than any headline. Jimin vanished from social media. Not even a selfie. Nothing. Jungkook posted a single emoji. New Moon Taehyung uploaded a photo of an empty piano bench. People searched for meaning. They looked back through old footage. Vlogs. Interviews. They noticed things they hadn't before. Jimin's laughter that didn't reach his eyes. A hug between him and Jungkook that ended too soon. The briefest flinch when their hands accidentally brushed. And the comment Jimin had once made in a 2019 vlog, now played on repeat by fans worldwide. Sometimes I wish someone would ask, but not all questions deserve answers. But the most haunting moment came a week later. It wasn't a grand confession. It wasn't a press release. It was a vlog. A quiet video uploaded to BTS's YouTube channel, titled simply Midnight Moments. At first, it seemed like behind-the-scenes clips, ordinary downtime. But at timestamp 23:17, the screen cut to a silent shot from a security camera in HYBE's studio. The lights were off except for one, a piano lamp. Jungkook sat at the keys. Alone, hood up, shoulders hunched. He didn't know the camera was on. He just sat there for a long time, breathing, thinking. Then he spoke. I just wanted to say that every wound I saw in his eyes was because of me. And then, uncut, the audio from the concert played in full. The part that had never made it to the crowd. Jimin isn't the one at fault. I'm the one who walked away when he needed me. And Taehyung was just trying to protect us both. Then it faded to black. And one sentence appeared on screen, stark and white against the darkness. What hurts more than the truth? Army was split. Some wept openly, finally understanding that the bond they'd always admired hid heartbreak behind its strength. Some felt betrayed, kept in the dark by idols they'd trusted. Others asked, what happened all those years ago? Why did Jungkook leave? Why did Taehyung try to stop him from speaking? And why did Jimin stay silent, even now? It was raining the night Jungkook left. Not metaphorically, not romantically. It was actually pouring. Thick sheets of rain hammering the HYBE practice room windows as if the sky itself was breaking apart. And inside, under the dim blue light that barely reached the edges of the mirror-lined walls, Jimin stood motionless. His arms hung limply at his sides. His chest rose and felt like he'd just run a marathon, but he hadn't moved in minutes. The piano was still echoing. A melody Jungkook had played just moments before. Slow, hesitant, the way he always played when his heart was full and his voice was empty. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't slam the door. He just left. And Jimin didn't stop him. He couldn't point 3 years earlier. 1:14 a.m. HYBE practice room. See, the fight hadn't started like a fight. It never did with them. It was just a flicker, a hesitation, a pause between words. Jimin had been watching him that night. Jungkook, hunched over the piano, headphones askew, tapping a beat that didn't quite fit. He always did that when something was off inside him. Like he could fix himself if he just found the right chord. Jimin approached, slow, unsure. "Are you okay?" he asked, already knowing the answer. Jungkook didn't look up. "I'm fine." "You're not." Silence. Jimin sat beside him, their shoulders barely touching, the kind of closeness that was more dangerous than distance. He didn't push. He never did. Not with Jungkook. But this time, he couldn't hold it in. "Why are you pulling away from me?" That was the moment it shifted. Jungkook froze, fingers still on the keys. His jaw tightened, and when he finally looked at Jimin, there was something unreadable in his eyes. Anger? Fear? Guilt? "You don't get it," he whispered. "Then make me understand," Jimin said, almost begging. "I thought we were—" "Don't say it." Jungkook's voice cracked. "We are, though. You know we are." Jungkook stood so fast the piano bench squealed against the floor. He ran a hand through his hair and walked to the edge of the room, his back to Jimin. "I'm not good for you," he said. "I never was. That's not your decision to make. I'm leaving." The words hit like a slap. Jimin stood too, voice rising. "You're just gonna walk away? After everything? I don't know how else to protect you." Jungkook's voice echoed, bouncing off the mirrors. His eyes were wet now. He didn't try to hide it. "You deserve someone who doesn't make you feel like you have to hide, who doesn't make you feel like loving them is a liability." Jimin stepped forward, shaking. "I don't care. I choose you. You shouldn't have to." And then, just like that, he left. Taehyung saw it all. He hadn't meant to. He'd come looking for Jimin. Late-night choreography run-through, he'd said. But when he opened the door, just a crack, and saw the way Jimin looked at Jungkook, like he was trying to hold on to something already slipping, he froze. He stayed there, in the shadows, watching. And when Jungkook walked out of the room and passed him in the hallway, their eyes met for just a moment. Taehyung didn't say anything. He didn't ask why. He just watched his best friend walk away and watched Jimin fall to his knees in the room behind him, the sound of silent sobbing lost in the crash of the rain outside. Back to present, BTS dorm. Late at night, Taehyung sat at the kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a mug that had long gone cold. The silence was thick, humming with memories. He stared at the screen of his phone, replaying the clip from the concert. Not now. Jungkook. It wasn't guilt he felt. It wasn't relief either. It was both. Because he had made a choice that night, 3 years ago, and again on stage, to protect the fragile thread still connecting them all. Even if it meant silencing the truth. Even if it meant betraying one of them to protect the other. Meanwhile, Jungkook, he was sitting on the floor of his studio, phone screen glowing, thumbs hovering over a message he couldn't bring himself to send. He'd watched the footage 100 times, the way the mic died, the way Jimin didn't even flinch, the way Taehyung looked scared, like he'd seen the future. "I should have said it," Jungkook whispered to no one. "I should have said a long time ago. It was supposed to stay hidden, and no one was ever meant to read it. Not the staff, not the fans, and definitely not Jungkook." But late one night, a phone left unlocked, a journal app still open, and Taehyung's most sacred truth slipped into the world. Not through malice, not through betrayal. Just accident. And everything changed. 6 days after the concert. BTS dorms started with silence. The kind that clings to the walls. Jimin wasn't speaking to anyone. Jungkook had gone almost nocturnal, leaving the dorm only when everyone else was asleep. And Taehyung? Taehyung had been writing that he always wrote when things got too loud inside. Lyrics, poetry, fragments of memories twisted into metaphors. But lately, he'd been keeping a digital journal. One that wasn't meant to be seen. Ever. That night, he left it open on the kitchen counter. Just for a second, he'd gone to feed Yeontan, phone still glowing, an entry half-typed. And when he came back, Jungkook was holding it. Present day. Kitchen table, 2:47 a.m. Jungkook didn't speak right away. He looked up slowly, eyes stormy. One sentence lit the screen between them. If Jungkook ever tries to say it out loud, I'll stop him, even if it means he'll hate me. Taehyung froze. A long silence stretched between them. You were planning it, weren't you? Jungkook said, voice low. Even back then, Taehyung didn't answer. You didn't just stop my mic because you panicked. You meant to do it. Still silence. Jungkook set the phone down gently, as if it were fragile, as if the words on it might shatter if he touched them too hard. You were never trying to protect me. Taehyung swallowed hard, finally speaking. I was trying to protect him. Flashback. 1 week after Jungkook left. 3 years ago, Jimin hadn't danced in days. Not one practice. Not one step. That he stayed curled up in the corner of Studio C, headphones on, but no music playing. Just silence. His eyes were always red. His lips cracked from biting down too hard. And Taehyung sat with him every night. And no questions and no judgments. Just presence. One night, Jimin finally whispered something, like a confession he wasn't strong enough to say any louder. If he ever comes back and says he regrets it, I'll break. I'll forgive him, even if he doesn't mean it. Taehyung looked at him, then really looked, and saw someone not just heartbroken, but on the edge of collapse. A porcelain figure held together by sheer habit and stage lights. Taehyung made a choice that he nodded just once. Then I'll make sure he doesn't say it. Not until you're ready to hear it. A promise, but it wasn't his to make. Back to present. Dorm kitchen. Jungkook leaned back in his chair. His hand was shaking. So all this time, you thought I would hurt him again? I didn't know, Taehyung said, but I couldn't take that risk. You don't understand what he was like after you left. He stopped being him. He stopped being him because I left. Jungkook snapped, and you made sure I stayed gone. No, Taehyung said quietly. You made that choice. I just made sure the fallout didn't kill him. The words landed heavy. Both of them were breathing hard now, like the truth itself was a storm ripping through the room. Jungkook stood up, slowly, like something inside him had shattered all over again, that he looked at Taehyung with something deeper than anger. It was disappointment and grief. I thought we were all protecting each other, he whispered, but you were just choosing sides. And then he walked out. This time, he slammed the door. Elsewhere, Jimin sat on the rooftop of the dorm. Hoodie pulled tight, the wind brushing his face. He watched the city lights blur through the beginning of tears that he'd seen the tension. Felt it. He wasn't stupid, but he hadn't read the diary that he didn't need to, because deep down, he already knew. Taehyung had once promised to protect him, and he had, but protection and silence aren't always the same thing. And sometimes silence hurts worse than the truth ever could. It begins with a sound of a soft beep, then static, then silence, until his voice cuts through the years. Hyung, if you're hearing this, I guess I couldn't say in person. I didn't leave because of you. I left because I was falling too hard, too fast, and it scared the hell out of me. Jimin listened to the voicemail twice, then a third time. He never remembered saving it. But there it was, dated 2 days after Jungkook walked out of the practice room and disappeared for 2 weeks. Jimin had never played it. He couldn't. Not back then, but now. It felt like a detonator. And the countdown had begun. The Tokyo incident had happened a year after Jungkook returned. They never talked about it. Not publicly, not even privately. It was one of those memories everyone shared, but no one dared touch. Like a scar no one would admit still hurt. They were in Tokyo for a surprise stage collab. The performance was flawless, but backstage was anything but. A staffer had seen it first. Jimin storming out of the green room, eyes glassy, fists clenched. Jungkook had followed 10 seconds later, breathless, calling after him. Jimin, wait, please, just listen. And then Taehyung appeared. Calm, cold. He stepped between them and said one thing, let him go. The press spun it as exhaustion, internal tension, jet lag. But what really happened in Tokyo? Jimin had kissed Jungkook, and Jungkook hadn't kissed him back. Episode 5. The lie starts to crack back in the present. The silence becomes unbearable. Taehyung receives a call from their manager. The Tokyo footage, raw, uncut, never meant to air, had been leaked. Not the kiss, not the shouting. Just the moment Taehyung stood between them, and fans were asking questions again. Dangerous ones. Was he protecting Jimin or stopping him? Meanwhile, Jungkook isolates. He locks himself in the studio and doesn't show up to scheduled meetings. He's spiraling, not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. Because all along, the one thing he needed most was never given to him, a chance to try again. And Jimin? He watches it all unravel with a stillness that isn't peace. It's resignation. Like someone who's been waiting for the collapse, he texts Taehyung one line. You said you'd protect me, not control me. Episode 6. The collapse, the confrontation doesn't happen in a studio or a rehearsal room. It happens in the middle of nowhere, on a retreat their manager insisted they take to reconnect. A last-ditch attempt. There, surrounded by fog and pine trees, Jimin, Jungkook, and Taehyung finally sit across from one another with nothing between them but memory. You lied to me, Jungkook says quietly. You abandoned me, Jimin replies. I was trying to keep both of you from breaking, Taehyung says, voice raw. But I only made it worse. No shouting, just grief. Taehyung cries first. Then Jungkook. Jimin doesn't. His tears dried up long ago. But his voice, when he speaks, carries all the weight of the 3 years they spent pretending this was fixable. Maybe the truth wouldn't have saved us. But the lie sure as hell didn't. They don't reach forgiveness. Not yet. But for the first time, all three of them finally look each other in the eyes. And Don't Look Away.it starts with a post. A black screen. No caption. No schedule. Just a timestamp and one word. Live. Within minutes, millions join. Jungkook appears. No glam, no styling. Just him in the studio, sitting in the same spot where he'd once tried and failed to send a message to the world. This isn't a comeback, he says. This is a confession. There's no script, no PR team, just truth. He tells them everything. Not salacious details, not clickbait, just the why. I left because I thought leaving would save us, that I came back hoping time had fixed what I broke, but silence didn't heal it. And neither did lies. He pauses, breathes. Jimin, if you're watching, I never stopped caring. But I didn't know how to be someone you could count on. So I tried to disappear before I became someone you hated. Media watch. Comments flood. And somewhere across the city, Jimin watches too. Alone. Jimin's Pavi doesn't cry. Not yet. But his hand shakes as he sets the phone down. Because now it's not just their secret, it's everyone's. He thinks back to the kiss in Tokyo. The voicemail. The practice room. The 1,000 almost moments between them. He opens his own camera, hits record, looks into the lens and says with a voice barely above a whisper, you weren't the only one who ran. Then he posts it.no hashtags.no context. Just truth. Taehyung's reckonings called into a last-minute meeting with management. The leak. The live stream. The chaos. It's all boiling now. They asked him to make a statement, to spin it, but Taehyung's done spinning. We said we'd be real with them. We built everything on trust. And the second it got hard, we stopped trusting them with the truth. He walks out of the meeting, no PR release, no scripted apology. That he calls Jungkook and Jimin instead. Let's talk, he says. Together. One last time. For real. The final scene of episode 8, a new live stream, is announced. This time from the group's official channel. The fans wait. 3 chairs, 3 voices, 1 final story. And this time, no one's cutting the mic. April 29th, 8 p.m. Korea Standard Time. Live is to 3 chairs at a small studio. Dim lighting. Just a plant in the corner and the soft hum of air conditioning. Intro music. No stage lights. Just 3 men who built the most unbreakable bond in the world. Now trying to fix the cracks they spent years hiding. The camera rolls. The chat explodes. But they don't look at it. They only look at each other. Jungkook starts. I think. I always thought one day we'd be okay again. But maybe that was selfish. Maybe it was never about again. Maybe it was about becoming something new. Taehyung nods but stays silent. It's Jimin who finally speaks. Quiet, but clear. I didn't need you to come back perfect. I just needed you to come back honest. Silence follows. And then Taehyung speaks. And I thought honesty would break us. That if we told the truth, everything we built would fall apart. He's shaking now. His voice cracks. So I silenced you, Jungkook. And I told Jimin he didn't need closure. And I've hated myself every day since. Jungkook reaches out, touches Taehyung's hand, does a small gesture. And that's when Jimin stands up. The chat explodes with panic. But he's not walking out in anger, that he walks over. And sits between them, Jimin's monologue. We've all been trying to protect something. But protection without permission isn't love. It's fear. He turns to Jungkook. You were scared of hurting me, so you ran. But you know what hurt worse? Believing I was forgettable. Then to Taehyung, and you? You didn't protect me. You trapped me. Every time you told me I wasn't ready, you decided for me. Taehyung tears up. Jungkook's breathing goes shaky. Jimin smiles, bittersweet. But I forgive both of you. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I don't want to carry this pain anymore. He looks directly into the camera. We're not perfect. We never were. But we were real. And we still are. The feed doesn't cut. The chat doesn't stop. But for the first time in years, neither do they. Live concert. Final stage, the crowd is electric. The energy is uncontainable. BTS is back for one last performance. Together, unified. And this time, they're singing a song that no one has ever heard before. Not the fans. Not the staff. Just the three of them, with the world watching. The song starts with a single note, a soft piano chord, hauntingly familiar. Jungkook sings the first verse, his voice raw, layered with every ounce of regret and desire he's been carrying all these years. I ran from you. I ran from me. Thought I could fix it, thought I could be free, but all that silence was a lie, and the truth, it never really died. Then Jimin joins in. His voice rises, powerful and gentle at the same time. He sings not just for himself, but for everything that's been lost and everything they're trying to rebuild. We couldn't see each other's pain, too scared to speak, too scared to break. But in the darkness, there's a spark, and maybe we could find our way back to the start. Finally, Taehyung's voice enters, lower and steady, like the foundation that holds everything together. His words are almost a confession, a plea for understanding. So let the music be our guide. For all the things we left behind, we are broken, but we're here, together now, and facing fear. The harmonies blend. They all sing the chorus together, louder, more unified than ever. We'll sing it out, no more regrets. Let the past go and don't forget. This is our last song, but not goodbye. We'll be free together, you and I. The crowd is in tears. The lyrics are a mix of sorrow and hope, regret and redemption, capturing the essence of everything that led them here. The song is their truth. The song is their healing. And for the first time in years, it's not just about the stage. It's about them. Backstage, the letter the concert ends. The crowd's still cheering, but there's a quietness backstage. The team is buzzing, but Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung stand together, looking out at the thousands of fans who've just witnessed their truth. Taehyung is the first to speak, but his voice is low. Do you feel it? The weight lifting. Jimin smiles softly, eyes a little tired, but at peace. Yeah, it's like we finally gave ourselves permission to be human again. But just as they begin to walk off stage, the assistant manager rushes in, holding an envelope with a familiar logo. The boys freeze when they see the letter. It's from the label. A final review of their reunion. A contract renewal offer. But that's not the surprising part. The letter has a message attached that shocks all three of them. We've reviewed your performance tonight. We've noticed that the truth is exactly what the world has been waiting for. But there's one last thing we need to discuss. Jungkook glances at the others, his heart pounding. What's this about? He asks, the weight of everything still hanging in the air. Jimin takes the letter, his hands trembling slightly. It says, before we move forward, there's someone who wants to meet you all. Pause. Jungkook furrows his brow. Taehyung looks at Jimin, confusion settling in. The letter continues. Someone who's been watching all along, waiting for the right time to come forward. Someone who can help you see the truth in ways you can't yet understand. Jimin looks at both of them, his face pale, then opens the rest of the letter. His voice falters as he reads aloud. Please meet us at the office tomorrow. It's time to face what you've been avoiding and what was never yours to carry alone. Series finale preview. The truth unseen after everything. The truth isn't what they expected, and the person they meet may just be the key to unlocking everything they've kept hidden for years. The final chapter begins now.